Although most animals look endearing and unharmful in Europe and rarely carry diseases, Europeans travelling abroad are increasingly taking this for granted and forgetting the risk of contracting diseases such as rabies and malaria. In addition to this, the introduction of websites enabling people to easily book their holidays online, including last-minute deals, are leaving European tourists with no information of precautions that should be taken, and indeed little or no time to allow for injections and prescribed medication to be given.
We have a duty of care to protect students and young people going away because that's the main people we deal with. So we're used to people going away on a gap year, they haven't been away before, they don't know about injections and things like that. So in terms of travel vaccinations and malaria advice, we can make them aware that it is their responsibility to check out what they need. And we're very lucky here because we actually have an adjoining travel centre on hand, so we actually have a nurse here.
A tourist wouldn't forget to take their sun cream aboard with them, so why are they continuing to forget to take medication to prevent diseases? If they don't, a suntan may not be all they come home with. The exact date of when rabies came into existence is unknown, but the first reports of rabied animals dates back to early Babylonian, Greek and Roman records. The virus was first seen in the 1960s under microscope. It is believed rabies came to America via European settlers who brought rabid animals over with them. A vaccination was formed to prevent the virus in 1885, and scientists over the years have developed more effective shots, but these are still only a preventative measure.
They get a lot of people dying, and it's because they're working in those environments, they don't know about the vaccinations or they can't afford them, and it's a very, it's a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing, definitely.
The problem of disease has a devastating effect on the population of affected areas. More than 100,000 people are injured by diseased animals every year. Around 60,000 people contract rabies and shortly die after the disease has infected their body.
In China, in November last year, they had 270 deaths from rabies just in China. And that's serious, that's just in 1 month. So India, has a horrendous rate of rabies, and that's popular travel destinations for people. So it does happen, it's not just one of those, it won't happen to me, it can happen.
By not taking medication and vaccinations for tropical diseases, not only can you be at risk of becoming extremely ill, but liable for costly repercussions for the treatment required.
If the person doesn't take the right injections when they're away, that might affect their insurance, which could actually total hundreds of thousands of pounds, especially for those students that go on placement to places like Africa and South America.
Some insurance companies will basically get you out of anywhere. It's always worth checking your insurance and the fine lines.
If a holidaymaker were to fall ill to one of these diseases, getting back to the UK is possible. It would be advised, though, to seek treatment in the country you're in if your health did not permit you to travel.
As far as airlines, basically they'll fly you unless you're medically unfit. I mean, if you turn up at the airport and you're bleeding and you're looking in a right state, they're not going to let you on. If there's any inkling to them that you're receiving treatment or you've been in hospital, they'll want to get probably a doctor's certificate just to say that you're safe to fly, because to be fair, coming back from Thailand, it's a good long flight. If you're stopping, then it could be just 2 8-hour flights, but it could be up to sort of 15-16 hours on a plane.
When I was travelling in Thailand with some friends, I stepped on an ant's nest and got bitten quite badly. It got all infected and was really itchy. So I had to go to a clinic in the back street of the nearest town, and before I knew it I had a worm in my foot. First of all started out as one, then I had another one going up my leg, which was slightly worrying. It was not a very pleasant experience.
There have been reports of outbreaks in places like Scotland, but it's debatable over whether they came from abroad and they brought the disease back with them, but it's unlikely that you're going to contract something in the UK.
As of yet, we have prevented malaria, rabies and other dangerous diseases coming into the UK. Walking through the countryside poses an extremely low risk of bites that a human could contract a disease from. Having said this, bites from squirrels and other rodents such as rats are not unheard of, and some caution should be taken on approach with such animals, and immediate action should be taken if a human were to be bitten.
There are feral cats in the areas, there are rats, so ideally you shouldn't be looking to approach them, particularly not to feed them. But if you should have a bite from any of these animals, the first thing to know is that we don't have a risk of rabies in this country.
Generally we don't have much problem with rats, although technically if you have a wound and you get on the edge of a pond, then you can get rat urine in it, which could potentially give you Vail's disease.
You must make sure your pet is vaccinated, not only for its health, but also to ensure we continue to keep rabies at bay in the UK.
I think most of this is just education about just, if you're not sure or you really think there might be risk, just find out. It's so easy just to phone us, phone anyone and say, what do I need?
Prevention is better than cure. If people travelling abroad follow the precautions widely available to them and take time to allow for injections to be given, contracting diseases should be minimal.